I do have to say that I'm a bit nervous about making this video because of the intensely personal nature of what I'm going to tell you. However, from my experience, it is only through deeply personal experience that I have learned anything. And the classes that impact me the most are always the ones where the teacher shares something that is deeply personal. So, you may wonder, why don't Jews cover their faces? I've given some classes about tzniut and modesty and why Orthodox Jews cover their bodies. I've also given some classes on why do Jews cover their hair. We do a lot of covering in Judaism. However, we do not cover our faces. So why is this? Some would actually even argue that it is a halachic obligation, meaning that it's Jewish law that we have our faces exposed, that we're not allowed to hide our faces. So why is this? I've said before that our bodies, which are beautiful, beautiful bodies, can actually distract us from who a person really is. If I see a woman's, and this is me as a female, if I see a woman's beautiful body, I might actually not see her for who she is internally, and the same with a man. That's why we cover our bodies. However, the face is different. The face is actually a window into our soul, and the face is that which we give the most to the public world. And we as Jews are obligated to give a positive, shining, light-saturated attitude to the world at all times. So this is why we don't cover our faces. This concept in Judaism is called or panim, which means the light of the face. It's actually a very well-known concept, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about when I talk about or panim. When you see someone who's just glowing with happiness and light and joy and giving, their face shines. And we as Jews are obligated, really, and this is an obligation, and it's a very, very wonderful obligation because it makes me very happy, to learn and give and work on ourselves so we can have this or panim in order to shine it upon the world. So whereas our bodies are private, and we cover them because they're beautiful, but they're private, our faces are beautiful, but we consider them public. And this is a very interesting concept, that the face is considered in Judaism public property. What is this? Oh, my face is owned by someone else? It's my face, right? But we actually consider the face to be public property. What does this mean? We have actually an obligation to give light and joy with our faces. We are told that we have to greet everyone with a smile. And this is not like, there's some God, banging me on the back telling me, I have to smile at everyone even though I'm miserable. No, I have to genuinely smile and recognize that every human being that I encounter is infinite and wonderful and good internally and has a purpose here. And I have to access that part of myself that knows that with every person that I meet. Believe me, this is not easy, and I fall short of it constantly. But this is actually what we are supposed to strive for. So when you think about the face as being public property, it's a bit of a hard concept to grasp at first, especially since, we want to say my body's mine, my face is mine, my moods are mine, me, right? But think about it this way. If you had a cold or some sort of flu, would you cough on everyone that you meet? Yes, I have a flu. It's my flu. I have a right to, express myself and express my germs. But no, you actually do not have a right to spew your germs on everyone that you meet. The same with your mood, and the same with your face. If you're having a bad day, if something's not going well, of course you can talk to your spouse about it, you can talk to a close friend about it, that's a different story. But when you're in public, you do not have the right. Actually, it's considered a sin in Judaism. It's really bad. You do not have the right to spew that mood on the people around you. And conversely, you actually have an obligation to give happiness and joy everywhere that you go. So this is actually a concept that I just recently read about in this book called The Committed Life by Rebbetzin Esther Youngreis. I would really highly recommend everyone, Jewish, not Jewish, religious, not religious, that you read this book, because it's a really beautiful window into the sort of life that I and many other Orthodox Jews strive to live. And, even though I can, I'm not like this woman, and I don't know if I can ever hope to be, But it's a really beautiful, I call it chicken soup for the Jewish soul. It really reminds you of why we're here, and she gives beautiful stories, and I always read it when I just need a reminder of why I'm here and what I'm doing. So yes, this is a concept that she talks about in this book, about constantly greeting people with love and genuine understanding and really appreciating every human being that you meet. Because, and this goes into the second part of what I'm going to talk about, you never know what someone's going through. You really never know what someone's going through. And that one smile could change their life. And I know this from personal experience. We're taught in Pirkei Avot, which is the ethics of our fathers, that the white of someone's teeth, aka your smile, hi, your smile is more valuable than milk. Aka you are going to nourish someone with your smile much more so than you will with bread and milk. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, okay, that's beautiful, internal eye roll, because I'm very sarcastic. Okay, that's beautiful, my smile can change worlds, blah, 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 I have to be nice to everyone I meet. But, really, it's more important than milk. What is that? And, it's really true. I'm not saying that you shouldn't give people food. Really, feed everyone. People need food. But they also need smiles. And I learned this actually recently, about a year ago, when I don't live in a very Jewish neighborhood. So when my husband and I walk around on Shabbat, we often run into homeless people and people who are needy. And since we actually don't live within an eruv, which means like an enclosure, we don't carry anything with us on Shabbat. That means we don't carry any money, we don't carry our keys, we don't carry anything except the clothes that we have on our back. So we'll often be approached by people that need something from us, and we don't have anything to give them. So while I was learning this Pirkei Avot about the white of your teeth, I realized, I do have something to give them. And now, ever since I realized this, whenever I see a homeless person, I don't have anything on me. And even when I do have something to give them, monetary or food, I realize that giving them a blessing, wishing them good luck, telling them that it will get better, and really seeing them. Because we all know that we would prefer most unfortunate people to be invisible. And I grew up feeling this way, just trying to look away, don't look, don't look. How often have these people really been looked at? So many of these people, they just want to disappear themselves. And if you look at them and really see them and look into their soul and realize that God put them on this earth for a reason and they are here for a reason, then they will maybe actually realize that they are here for a reason and have some purpose. And I know this because I was told actually by one homeless person that we befriended last year, that it really makes a difference when someone looks him into the eyes and says, good luck, it will get better. And I'm sorry I don't have anything, but really, best of luck. And it's important, and this will help more than just giving them some money. Money can be used for very hurtful and destructive things, whereas a smile can really change someone's life. Anyway, I'm going to tell you a little story that illustrates this point about, first of all, why Jews don't cover their faces, and also how these little things, well, what we think they're little, but they're actually huge, can completely change the world. Anyway, I was home for my first time since my first extended stay in Israel. I'd been in Israel for about 4 months, and I came home for Passover. I came home, I think it was from my second or third meeting with the Beit Din, because I was going through a conversion process. I came home because I wanted to see my family. I came home because I also wanted to see where I am. Because when you spend a long time in seminary, it's very easy to become very holy and work on yourself and do all these things. But it's a totally other story to step out of that bubble and come home and really revisit where you used to live, your family, your friends, and figure out who you actually are and where you're actually holding. So I was doing this. And I was also realizing when I came back home that I actually wanted to go back. So this was a very important thing for me to come back. Anyway, so I came back, and I generally had a very good trip. But around the time when I was about to leave, there was this one day, and I'm going to describe this day to you, and I'm sure many of you have had this experience. This day was just awful. I woke up, I was in a bad mood, I was in a funk, the sky was gray, I had a migraine, I tried to practice, but it didn't really snap me out of it. I tried to daven and pray and reconnect myself, meditate. Didn't help. I went for a run. It didn't help. Nothing was helping. I just could not snap myself out of this funk of negativity, and I just really felt awful. So usually when I'm feeling like this, which is not very often, thank God, but when I do feel like this, I decide to get stuff done, just do the dishes, do the stuff I've been avoiding. So that day I decided to run some of the errands I'd been avoiding because I had an appointment downtown later at night. So I went out, I ran all my errands, and I was done early. So I still could not snap out of this funk. So I decided that I would go to a coffee shop that was one of my favorite coffee shops in my old neighborhood. So I went to this coffee shop. It was an Aroma, by the way, in the annex. And, I took out my computer. Again, since I was in a bad mood, I took care of some emails and bills and stuff, applications, stuff I'd been avoiding. And as I was working, keep in mind that this was a long time ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I was very single, and this is long before I met my husband. Anyway, I was sitting in this coffee shop, and I noticed this man, or boy, or whatever he was. And I immediately noticed something about him, and that had nothing to do with his appearance, which I'll tell you about later. There was something very shy and very beautiful about this man. And, I was a seminary girl. I was, with my collar up to here, very religious, very everything. So I noticed him briefly, acknowledged, and then got back to my work. Anyway, this man had tattoos, piercings, long hair, really, not someone based on external appearances that I would have had interest in. But, he was good looking, so I did notice. Anyway, I'm typing out my computer, still in a funk, still basically asking God, just get me out of this funk. I want to be connected again. I know it's Toronto, and I know I miss Jerusalem, but, I want to be happy. I really, really want to reconnect. About half an hour later, this man comes up to me, and he comes up to me very quickly, walking very quickly, and before I can even look up, he drops a note on the table that I'm at and walks away. So I opened this note, and it doesn't even matter what it said, but it was so sweet. It was basically saying, you're so beautiful, and I'm completely distracted from the book that I'm reading, so please stop being so beautiful. It was something, and keep in mind that I'm sure this man is not a superficial man because I was not looking very, very, beautiful by secular standards. So whatever it was about this gesture, it was very sweet. He wasn't trying to pick me up. It completely made my day, and it made me, I guess, feel seen, which is what I was talking about before. And maybe this man saw something in me that I wasn't able to see that day. And I was reading it, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm leaving for Israel in a week. I'm an Orthodox Jew. I'm not interested. How do I thank this man for basically completely changing my mood and making me feel like I have some worth again? How do I thank him without really, encouraging that sort of, maybe he had hopes that there might be something romantic there. How do I thank him? But I really should thank him because, what if there's a girl out there that is his soulmate, and, if I don't thank him, maybe he won't do what he just did again. Like, he really should know that he made my day, and, it really meant a lot to me. So how do I tell him? And I'm sitting there worrying about it and thinking, he's sitting over there. What am I going to do? I have to say something because, it really meant a lot to me, blah, blah, blah. I have to thank him. Anyway, I decide that I'm going to thank him. And I look up, and he's gone. And my heart just broke because I was just, I could tell that, this is probably a shy guy that really does not do this sort of thing. And the note was genuine. It wasn't creepy trying to pick me up or anything like that. So I was like, God, like, why? Why did you let him walk away? I was going to thank him. I really wanted to thank him. I wanted to give him the strength and, maybe motivation to do things like this in the future because he really changed my day and changed my life. And yet, I wasn't able to. So I made a vow then, since I wasn't able to thank him personally, that I was going to do the same thing for other people. Because really, at that point, that was the only thing I could do. I could make a vow to make other people's day and smile at people and really see them because who knows, they could be in the same sort of self-hating, negative funk that I'd been in, and I could change their day. And who am I to not do that? Who am I to take that away from them? Especially if someone's in real trouble, if someone's feeling, negative or even suicidal, God forbid. My smile, my seeing them could change that. So I made that vow right then. If I couldn't thank this man personally, then I would maybe be able to do the same thing for others that he had done for me. But I asked God, please, wherever this man goes, just give him the strength and knowledge that, I wasn't rejecting him by not responding to his note, that I actually was grateful and I just didn't have the chance, or, you didn't give me the chance to thank him. So this is where the story gets really interesting. I came back to Toronto 5 months later, and I'm getting chills just thinking about it. So I came back to Toronto 5 months later. I was meeting two friends at the same cafe. I was coming back to Toronto because I needed to make aliyah. I needed to pick up my cello, tie up some loose ends. I was moving to Israel permanently. I came back, went to the same coffee shop. We sat somewhere in the front, and then someone asked us to move because, he was meeting someone, needed a bigger table. We moved. We tried to sit somewhere else, but it wasn't really right, we saw a table open up outside, and we decided, it's a bit cold. It's a bit cold outside, but we will go outside. So we moved outside. Anyway, I'm sitting there, and I couldn't believe it. I look over, and I look over again, and I look over again, and it's the same man. He's sitting right there, right outside. I wouldn't have seen him had we not moved tables three times. I wouldn't have seen him. And he's sitting right there. And guess what I have in my wallet? This note that he wrote for me. And I just, my friends must have thought something was really wrong because I just went speechless. I was like, I have a chance to thank him. And how am I going to do this without him thinking that I'm some sort of crazy woman? Anyway, I don't remember what I said, but the friend that was with me will remember what I said because she's very into all these connections and things happening like that. So I went up and I told him, and he remembered me. And I told him, even though I'm an Orthodox Jew and, I wasn't able to respond to you, and I didn't know how to respond to you. Your note changed my day and changed my life, and I've been carrying it in my wallet ever since. And I showed it to him, and he probably didn't know what was going on. But either way, nice conversation. I said thank you, and I said I hope you really have the courage to do nice things for other people in the future like you did for me, because it meant the world to me. And I walked away, and I couldn't. Had I not made that vow to do the same thing for others, I don't think the Infinite would have given me the chance to thank him. Because I guess maybe selfishly I wanted to thank him. But unless I'd actually paid it forward and done the same thing for others, I wouldn't have gotten that chance. And I still have that note in my wallet. Do you know what's even crazier? But I also find that it's not surprising. That man's name is the same name as my husband's. Yeah, crazy, eh? Anyway. Okay, so that's my story. And that's a constant reminder. And the reason why I carry that note in my wallet is to remind me all the time that one little small gesture can completely change someone's life. One smile, one compliment, one word, just something from your heart can change someone's day and change the course of their future. So remember that. And realize that your face is public property for a reason. Your face is public property because you can do so much with it. And you have the obligation to do so much with it, because why not? Why not? Anyway, thank you everyone, and I hope you're all having a lovely day, and those of you that celebrate Pesach had a really nice Seder, nice celebration. All the best. Kol Tuv.